Welcome back, and now we're going to be talking baseball with head coach Jared Hood. This is once again Kenneth the K-Rock Klein and Mark T. Robinson. So, Coach Jared Hood, you're coming off an incredible sweep of Southwestern. Kind of ruined their home opener a bit, but needless to say, they'll be back in business. But for right now, you guys are currently 5-2 after the incredible sweep. Just talk about the series overall and what was it about it that made your guys come away with the wins?
Yeah, Kenneth, for us, our pitching, as we talked about last week, had to be key. And, for the most part, it was this weekend. The good thing about the team that we've put together is that we don't have to rely so heavily on just a couple of arms. You throw a guy out there, and if he's got it, great, let him roll. And if he doesn't, then, get somebody else in there and just kind of see who's hot. And that's what we were able to do this weekend. Got a great start from Blake Corbin in game one, and our bullpen handed over to the bullpen. Man, they just did an outstanding job with Ariano coming in, throwing strikes, Jordan O'Bannon just coming in and slamming the door shut, and another solid start from the freshman Blaine Parker. Game two, overcame some adversity and some not so easy weather to play in, and then Zach Pierce gave us another solid start and an opportunity to win a ball game in game three. So. All that stuff is, factors that you need, to get you started in a good season and to set you up for some wins.
Definitely, Coach. And one of the specific games that I particularly keyed in on was that last one. It was a 12-inning game for you guys. You guys ended up coming out on top 8-5. Talk about the strategy at that point in the game when you're going into extra innings. What kind of how are you guys able to come out with the win? And two, what is kind of the strategy at that point? Is it all about endurance or just continuing to stay consistent?
Yeah, so it was really kind of a crazy game, to say the least. They came out and jumped out on us early. We had some self-inflicted wounds, some physical mistakes in the field that we made that put us behind the eight ball. But what I was so happy with that game is so we got down 3 runs, but then we came back with 1 in the first. We came back with 1 in the second, came back with 1 in the third. And we scored just a run just about every inning, and came back and was able to chip away. So when you get to that point, game 3, tie ball game, both teams are at the end of their bullpens, of course it's cold and the wind's a factor and everything else. When the wind's blowing like it was, 10 to 15 miles an hour in, you've got to keep the ball out of the air. So anything that's hit in the air is going to hold up and it's going to get caught. So really the strategy at that point in time is, try as hard as you can to get the leadoff guy on base. If you get the leadoff guy on base, I believe in our offensive system that we're going to be able to score runs. So unfortunately, that took a little bit longer than it should have. We had, multiple runners in scoring position the whole game, and again, it was just we'd hit balls right at guys or wouldn't have just the quality at bat that we needed at that point in time, or just we just got out, and that happens. But the important thing that I saw was that we were continuing to fight. Pitchers were continuing to grind on the mound to compete in the strike zone. Defense made plays when they needed to. And we had a lot of young guys sub into the game, defensive subs and to come in and situationally hit and stuff that did a really fantastic job for being thrown in the fire. So there was a lot of good things to see. We were happy we came out with the win.
So obviously, having a pretty young team, for the most part, to say the least. This was obviously their first series that they've ever competed in. Obviously, because you're going to get accustomed to Friday night one-gamers and then a Saturday doubleheader as well, unless of course there are other games in the mix. But what was it like for the young guys just to kind of get their first hands-on experience of a really true series as far, because oftentimes when you go back to your high school days, you may think, okay, that you play your series in the postseason as well, because otherwise you just play one games. But just talk about the young guys and how they were able to find their footing, to say the least, in the first series that they played this year.
Well, in baseball, there's a lot that has to do with finding your routine, okay, and staying structured in your routine. And so, I mean, so that's our job as coaches, is to put our guys into that routine and to keep everything kind of the same for them, so that really their work is minimal. So but it's good because the guys get to experience the pregame BP for the first time. We didn't really get to take in and out at Centenary last weekend because of the weather. So for them to experience that, and just the overall intensity of the series itself, because you come out Friday night, everybody's gung ho, and all excitement's high and everything like that. Then you got to come around, early the next morning and pick that intensity up again. And this series ended up going till about 9:30 that night. So, when you think about it, we were on the ball field from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9:30 at night. So if you think about it, the level of intensity that needed to be kept that entire day for us to be able to pull out the sweep needed to be really high. And that was one of the most important things that I saw this weekend, was that we continued that intensity. We continued to have high energy, and we kept it through the whole weekend. And I really think for young guys, that's the biggest adjustment to the college game, is just the level that is needed to be able to compete at a high level the entire time.
And my final question for you, Coach, is you would have had your home opener today, but instead you guys are going to have an extra day of rest, extra day of practice, and you're going to be headed to Tyler on Friday. So just talk about what you're expecting out of your team as you head into that ball game.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we got with Centenary, and we've got some weather coming in. It's not too far away, and and we just figured there's got to be a better weekend to play baseball. When it's 35 degrees and mist and rain, I mean that's no good to be out there. So we're going to find another weekend to play, and hopefully we can get some in this weekend. We've got Trinity on Friday night. And they won the national championship a couple years ago, and they're going to be an outstanding ball club. They're going to have some really good talent on the mound. They're going to have some guys that can hit the baseball, and we're going to have to play good ball. And then Saturday, we've got Laterno in a non-conference match up there in the tournament. And, even though we don't play them for conference standings this year, I think it's a really important series, playing them Saturday and then turn around and playing them Monday, to kind of get a good measurement of where we're going to be in the conference, going out and playing those guys and competing well. So it's going to be a good weekend, good test for us, so we'll get these guys ready to go.
Definitely. This is the early test, as always. But, Coach, once again, thanks for joining us. And now we will shift gears a bit, and we'll head over to softball as we talk with head coach Janae Shirley in just a moment.